The last boss of the year is a 300% HP Vortex on the map Hedge, and we're gonna play some Ranked Elite, which is least tiers for this week. It's been a few days, so there's been time for some scores to get on the board, and it looks like we got some crazy impressive scores here, and they're quite spread out. No one has the same score. We got 52, 53, 55, 58, 59, 66, and 73. So let's see what we can get. This week we have a lot of starting cash, 11k to be precise, so I begin the game by placing a discount village and then 2 farms just in its range and upgrade one of them to a bank, place an engineer for defense, and then start working on getting the other farm to a 3-2-0. I decided to make the leftmost farm the top path because that one is further away from the track than the farm to the right, and Vortex regularly blows away objects like bananas from the map near him, so I prefer to have the top path as far away as possible, but the bank doesn't make any crates, so that one can be closer. Next, I get to work on getting my Bloon trap and target it to the start of the track, and 2 rounds later my bank is pretty much full, so I collect the cash, upgrade it into an IMF loan, and then deposit the cash I have left and keep depositing the cash I make until the bank is a little more than halfway full. I should also point out that before starting this game I rearranged my monkey knowledge because I wanted to have all the monkey knowledge turned on except for one, which is the last military monkey knowledge Big Bloon Sabotage, which makes Moab spawn with 10% less HP. And this is because I want the Moabs to have more HP so I can get more pops onto my towers and get a higher degree Paragon. Next on the list is to upgrade the top path farm to a BRF, so once my loan ability is ready I cash out my money from the bank, take the loan and upgrade the farm, and then keep redepositing my cash into the bank once again. This week there was quite a few Paragons that you couldn't get due to some upgrades being banned, and those were the Dart, Wizard, Ninja, and Spike Paragons, and on top of that, the Temple and Geraldo were also banned. Benjamin was not banned, but for this run I decided to go without a hero at all, which might seem strange, because Ben gives pretty good cash for just spending 1 tier, especially if paired with a bank, and there are plenty of sight blockers to avoid him using the Trojan too. So why didn't I use him? Well, because for this strat I didn't need him. I will make enough cash as it is. But Benjamin is probably part of some better strats that cuts down on the farming more than I did, but with the limited time I spent on this event, this was the best I could come up with. Next I upgrade the village to tier 4 bottom path to increase the money I make from both my farms and the trap, and even though I could afford the upgrade with the money I took out from the bank, I still take out another loan and put the money back to earn interest. God, this really sounds like the current state of the stock market. Just take out a loan and YOLO it into the S&P with some leverage. I mean, what could go wrong? And I guess the overclock can represent the leverage, because that's what we're getting next to juice up our BRF. And a few rounds later, we're gonna cash out our stock market winnings, commit some tax fraud, take out another loan, and then spend it all on a brand new Mercedes. That being the XL Trap. And that's it for tier 1 farming. Important to remember is that there is still a bug in the game that causes all the bonus cash that the trap earns from being inside the village range to disappear if you back out of the game and then collect the trap. This is super annoying, hopefully it will be fixed in the future, but to sort of mitigate it, I play the remaining rounds without backing out, and since I might want to create a save on round 40, I decided to collect the trap towards the end of round 39 to get all of the cash from the last 6 rounds with the village bonus, so then when the round is over I can back out and make a save. For tier 1, I begin by placing a tier 4 top path ace set to Wing Monkey next to the BRF, but it's not placed as far to the left as possible to avoid stuns, and why you will see later. And then I move the trap away, because otherwise it's gonna collect the ceramics on round 40 and the trap will get blown away by Vortex and I will get 0 income from the bloons. Once the fight has started, I wait a bit with getting the tier 5 upgrade for the ace, because I'm trying to stall the round just a few seconds to let Vortex move away a little bit from the entrance so I can put my trap back when the next round starts and not have it being blown away. During the the fight, we remember to keep managing the bank, and also when Vortex is close to the farms, you want to pick up the cash crates quickly so that they don't get blown away, and I also micro the ace a little bit to speed up the kill, but I don't think that's necessary. I just did that because I wanted to make sure I could kill the boss without overclocking my ace, so I can keep the overclock on the BRF at all times to make more money. And speaking of money, during the kill we also upgrade the BRF to a banana central, using the usual strat of collecting the money from the bank and then taking out a loan to get the upgrade as soon as possible. The XL trap is very strong this early in the game, so it won't get full very often, and defends very well, so you can stay focused on the things you need to and don't get too stressed out. But I did leak a ceramic that didn't get decamoed by the overclock, but that's fine. Next we get the tier 5 bank, and here you also want to take out a loan to buy it sooner, because even if the tier 4 ability is ready to be used, upgrading this tower to tier 5 causes a full initial cooldown of the new ability, so taking a loan to get it sooner is the way to go. So tier 1 was quite easy, nice and calm, and now we're gonna move on to some more farming, but really the only thing left to buy is the Ultra Boost upgrade, and then I'm just gonna start putting stacks on the central and keep using my bank ability and managing my deposits. So other than that, I'm not gonna do anything more, so we're gonna skip to tier 2. Here I get the Flying Fortress set to center path and then targeted to the rightmost side of the map to increase the amount of shots that I hit on the boss, and I also gave it one crosspath upgrade for the plus 33% attack speed, because that's gonna get us more pops over the next few tiers to add to our Paragon degree. But I don't get the second upgrade, because that one doesn't add as much damage. Then I got a second village upgraded to a camo village, which will become a homeland, and then place the third ace. So all aces are inside the monkey city, so they make extra income from pops, which will be good later on when we don't have the trap anymore. The reason I'm getting a homeland, which I'm saving up to during this kill, is again because of pops. I can easily beat this tier without it by simply using an Ultra Boost stack or two on the fortress, but I need the homeland on tier 3 and 4 to farm more pops for my aces. So now I'm sticking with Ultra Boosting the central and beating the boss by just using the homeland, and I made sure to use the homeland with some specific timings in the beginning to make sure I don't accidentally stun any of my farming towers. This tier was also very safe, and we took out the boss on round 70, and now for the rounds until tier 3 we need to start giving stacks to the fortress, because we want to have 10 stacks before the fight starts to maximize the amount of pops we can farm during that tier. But I also want to keep the Ultra Boost on the farm to maximize cash, and the best thing to do here is to alternate back and forth as much as you can, because the Ultra Boost has an uptime of more than 100% on tier 5 towers, so that way you can optimize for both. So by the time I reach round 80, I have 9 stacks on my fortress, and the 10th one is gonna come off cooldown just as the boss spawns, which is perfect. And then I place my final NG, which I'm gonna upgrade to the Paragon during this tier, in the bottom right corner to avoid stuns. So then we start the fight, and I'm gonna play about 3 rounds before I get the Paragon, and during this time I'm gonna keep the Ultra Boost on the fortress and be using my homeland, and to maximize pops, avoid using the homeland right before a skull is about to pop, because then some uptime will be lost since the projectiles can't penetrate the shield. When round 83 begins, I upgrade the S-Champ to the Paragon and sacrifice just enough to get a degree 20, which turned out to be 123k. Here I did make a little mistake. I should have waited a few more seconds until my Ultra Boost came off cooldown, so I could have used that one last time on the ace before I created the Paragon, and that way it would have stayed overclocked until the Paragon's overclock ability came off cooldown. I was a little bit too focused on backing in and out and checking the minimum amount I needed to spend to get a degree 20. Nevertheless, now we have the NG Paragon, and now you will see the reason for the strange ace ace placements. Now, if I use my overclock on the Sky Shredder, both the central and the fortress are now close enough to get the area of effect overclock, and since this update, the duration of the overclock got doubled for tier 5 towers, and the duration penalty for secondary towers that get overclocked from the area of effect has been reduced to 0. This means that both the Sky Shredder, Fortress, and Central all get 60 seconds of overclock every time I use it, which is pretty darn good, and this means that I can use the overclock to get more pops and more money at the same time. The bad thing about the update, however, is that the overclock duration for Paragons was decreased from 30 seconds down to just 15, and the cooldown for ability was doubled from 45 seconds to 90 seconds. This is brutal for this particular event, because that means you only get a fraction of the uptime that you had previously when overclocking the Ace Paragon. And as a little side note, it is still good to combine with the Wizard Paragon, because then you only want to use the overclock together with the morph ability anyway, which also has a cooldown of 90 seconds, but sadly the 15 seconds of uptime is not enough for the 20-ish seconds that the morph ability takes to deplete with full mana. Anyway, back to the boss fight. Here I use the NG to take out the boss while gathering as many pops as I can with the aces, but here I made another mistake. Towards the end, the NG itself starts attacking and it does quite a bit of damage, so I should have stopped using the Mega Sentries at the end to let the boss stay a bit longer on the track and kill it closer to the exit, so here I missed out on a bunch of pops for the ace. But now tier 3 is done and there is nothing more we need to do before tier 4, so let's skip straight to that. And this tier we're gonna get the Ace Paragon to the highest degree that we can, and I decided to move my fortress to the left side of the map to anti-stall the rounds, because that way I can make more cash before I need to create the Paragon, and I also get more pops that way. I make use of the NG's Mega Sentries to take out 2 skulls before I need to get the Ace Paragon, because that way I can knock back the boss and give myself a little bit more time to get pops on the aces. And finally, on round 109, I collect most of the cash crates that the central gives that round, and then I sell everything and put it all into creating the Ace Paragon. Nearly 400k sacrificed gave me a degree 71, which was way better than I expected, so I must have been very close to max pops. If I would have had max pops, it would have given me a degree 72 with the amount of cash that I sacrificed, so I was very close to max pops. If I were to redo this game, I would cut down on the farming and do a better job with the pops. Now, this ace is strong enough to take out the boss, even though it's very close to exiting. The NG ended up getting stunned, but even so, the ace can solo this tier no problem without letting the boss advance on the track, even without any ace micro. So now we just got the final tier, so I prep a couple of Mega Sentries and line up the first Carpet Bomb ability, and oh boy, this tier was rough. I am not very good at ace micro, and I didn't even have a hotkey set up for doing ace micro, so when I tried it the first time I was just clicking with the mouse all the time, but that didn't work out very well. So I set up a hotkey to change the center path location, but it still took me a couple of attempts. Microing the ace while also lining up the Carpet Bomb abilities and overclocking the ace and replacing the sentries. It was a bit tricky for me, but it was a lot of fun. Like, this was a very good boss event, and so was the last one, by the way, which I didn't make a video about, but NK has been on fire with the Christmas events, man. Really fun bosses. And for this tier, I think I might have been messing up my Carpet Bomb abilities a little bit. Like, when you set the targets, you start by choosing the start point and then the end point where the last bomb will drop, and I was setting the start point of the carpet ahead of the boss and the end point where the tail of the boss is. It doesn't necessarily matter which direction you drop the bombs, but I think it might be better to to do it the other way around and drop the bombs in the direction that the boss is heading, because I think that might make it slightly easier to line up and make you a little bit more consistent on average. So yeah, I'm not sure if sometimes 1 out of the 8 bombs missed. That could be the case, but it worked in the end, and you can definitely cut a good number of degrees on the Ace Paragon if you can micro it better than I did. We ended up with 65 tiers spent, and I'd imagine that pretty much all of the better scores are variations of the same strat, NG plus Ace, but with less tiers spent on farming and buffs for more pops. I overspent a lot on the farming, so I can definitely cut a lot here. I just need to practice on the damn Ace micro, but I'm probably not gonna do another attempt because it's the holidays and I'm spending a lot of time with family and friends, but I had to give it a quick run since it's such a good boss event. I hope you're all enjoying your holidays. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.